Hello guys, and thank you for watching. I'm going to show you an Exodia deck I came up with actually a long time ago. I was looking for a good Exodia deck, so of course I looked online, Googled it, and I came up with a pretty good deck. And as I was playing with it, I improved it, I think, to a much better combination. So let's go ahead and I'll show you all the cards in the deck. Of course, there are the five pieces of Exodia. Then two we have two Royal Magical Library. We have two Summoner Monks, one Double Summon, two Broken Bamboo Sword, three Golden Bamboo Sword, two Hand Distraction, three Into the Void, um, uh, three Magical Citadel of Endymion, one Terraforming, three Magical Mallets, one Day of Peace, one Part of Duality, one Reload, two Spell Power Grasp, three Toon Table of Contents, two Toon World, and three Upstart Goblins. Now, I know you guys would probably ask for yourself, why two Toon Worlds, why other cards that probably you think don't need to be in the deck. So let me explain to you why. The main monster in the deck is, well, after of course the five pieces of Exodia, is Royal Magical Library. This card will help you gain a lot of cards, help you do a lot of cards from your deck. Um, so for every three spells basically, you get to draw one card from your deck. So the idea is to bring Royal Magical Library as soon as possible onto your field and start using your effects as much as possible during your turn. Um, After that, you have Summoner Monk. In case you haven't drawn Royal Magical Library in your first draw, then Summoner Monk will help you summon a Royal Magical Library directly from your deck. After all, your deck is filled with 31 spells, and Summoner Monk lets you, by discarding one spell, summon a level 4 monster directly from your deck. So basically, to increase the chances of having Royal Magical Library, I put two Royal Magical Library because three is just too much. Um, it's just another dead draw to draw a third Royal Magical Library, and the second one is fine. I'll explain in a minute. And Summoner Monk, in case you haven't drawn Royal Magical Library, will let you summon it directly from your deck. Um, I used to I used to have um, Giant Runade back when it was still in the game, because it lets you basically take all of your spells out from your field and your opponents, and you can reuse them again. So that was an awesome card. You get a spell, you play a spell, and you get all of your spells to play them again. So if you have 3, 4, 5 spells on your field already, you can just reactivate them, and that will give you some more counters to your Magical Library. The first spell we have is Double Summon. If you think one Royal Magical Library is good for draw, imagine what two can do. Basically double power. I have two Broken Bamboo Sword. I know one is enough, but A, it's a spell to play to increase the counters on Royal Magical Library, and B, it will just help you to bring it faster to your hand. Um, three Golden Bamboo Sword, of course. Now you know, because of Broken Bamboo Sword, why you need Golden Bamboo Sword. We'll give you two cards while you have Broken Bamboo equipped. Um, two Hand Distraction. This card is good for a couple of reasons. As you saw, we have two Summoner Monks and two Royal Magical Library. So in case you have, let's say, already two Royal Magical Library on your field, and you also have Summoner Monk in your hand or another Broken Bamboo Sword, hand distraction will help you get rid of those dead cards in your hand and have two new cards and increase the counters on Royal Magical Library. Um, 3 into the Void basically lets you draw a card. I know it's a risky move because at the end of the turn of your turn you have to discard your hand, and if you haven't drawn Exodia, then you're dead. But the idea of this deck is to draw Exodia in one turn, not to wait till the second, third turn to bring it out. I've done it many times. I draw Exodia in one turn. So that is a great card to draw, to have in your deck. Basically, to just have another card in your hand. Magical Citadel of Endymion. This basically will act as a counter base for your monster. So since we have two Royal Magical Library which work on counters, Magical Citadel of Endymion lets your monster adapt the counters from the field spell. So, and you can use it only once per turn. So as you go alone and play more spells, you get more counters on Magical Citadel, and you can basically use those counters for a Royal Magical Library. So instead of having one effect and wasting the three counters that are already on Royal Magical Library, you're getting the counters from Magical Citadel. Plus, it's another spell card which will increase your Royal Magical Library's counters. So there are three of them. Since you can only use the effect once per turn, I'll put three. So once one of them is dead, you can go ahead and use the other one and use its effect one more time. Terraforming to bring Magical Citadel. Of course, another spell to increase counters on Magical Citadel and um, Royal Magical Library and get rid of a card of your deck, making your deck thinner and more helpful to increase your chances basically to bring Exodia out faster. Magical Mallet, we all know how good this card is. Now I know normally I've seen a lot of guys, a lot of players play Magical Mallet, sending the cards they have, like the rest of the cards they have in their hand, and leaving the Exodia pieces while they have 20, 30 cards in their deck still. The chances that you'll draw Exodia, and I don't know, the other 2, 3 pieces from the deck by Magical Mallet, when you have 20 cards in your deck, are very low. So what I do is I play Magical Mallet, send the Exodia pieces, and get more spells and traps. I'm sorry, not traps, but spells, and if I need the monster out to my hand, which help me get Exodia later on. Don't expect to draw Exodia when you have 20 cards left in your deck. You're probably gonna have, I don't know, 2, 3, or 0 cards left in your deck when you're gonna assemble Exodia. I mean, unless you're very lucky and you'll draw it like on the very beginning. 1 day of peace. That is good in case you haven't draw all the cards from your deck. All 5 pieces of Exodia on your first turn. This will give you another turn. You're not gonna lose any damage for 1 turn. Of course, if you played into the void, that's done. Because it doesn't matter, your Exodia will be in the grave, or the piece that you have in your hand. Part of Duality, we all know, will let you search the 3 top cards of your deck and bring one of them, the most useful one, to your hand. Of course, once you use Part of Duality, you will not be able to use Summoner Monk's effect, and if you use Summoner Monks, you will not be able to use Part of Duality. So that's one other reason why we have Hand Destruction, which lets you get rid of your dead cards, and draw 2 instead. Reload, I just need to have another card to put there, so I put Reload. I'm not so crazy over this card because you don't have control over the cards you put in your deck. You basically have to put your entire hand, but it is what it is. It might help you bring better cards. Spell Power Grasp. This card lets you put one counter on a monster or on a card on the field, so either Royal Magical Library or Magical Citadel, and beside for that lets you search for another Spell Power Grasp. That's why I put two. I know a lot of people put one. I decided to put two because not only you get a spell, you also make your deck thinner. You can only activate once per turn, so you cannot use its effect to put another counter one more time. But you can get rid of it with um, hand distraction and get another card for it instead. You don't want to um, um, use hand distraction on your useful cards. That's why you need to have those dead cards like grasp and like monk. You'll need them in your hand or broken bamboo. By the way, don't be afraid to play up two broken bamboo if you need on the counter. Don't let leave it in hand. You need like another counter on magical library. Play another broken bamboo even though you already have one on your field. Toon Table of Contents. This card is amazing for this deck, especially if you have Royal Magical Library on your deck, on your field to begin with. You can basically search another Toon Table and another Toon Table, which lets you play two spell cards already, and then with the third Toon Table, you'll play the next card, which is Toon World. Um, and a lot of people will play one Toon World in their deck, which is fine. Don't forget, Toon World is a continuous spell that you can just play for no reason. So even though you're losing 1,000 points, don't worry. You'll get two counters. You'll get a counter on your magical library. Um, the reason I play two because a lot of time you'll draw two Toon Table of Contents. To draw three, it's possible, but it's not so common. So if you draw two table of contents on your first draw, then basically one of them will be useful. That's why I put another Toon Table. So even if you draw two, you can bring one Toon Table. I'm sorry. That's why I put Toon Table. Yeah. So even if you draw two, you can bring another one Toon Table and then one Toon World, and with the second one, you can bring the second Toon World you have in your deck. Upstart Goblin, obviously everybody knows what it is for, to draw a card to thin your deck. So these are basically the cards I have here. Let me go ahead and try to use this deck. I can say, I went for sure. Of course, with Exodia deck, you have to get any Exodia deck. You have to get a good hand at the beginning. Basically, any deck. If you don't get a good hand at the beginning, or with the first few draws, it's most likely your duel is over. But as we know, as much as you have strategy, you can use strategy with this game. Just like any other card game, you have to rely on luck. So let's go ahead and have a quick duel.